What's going on, guys? Romer the Romer here. I'm here with BuyLowSellHeinz, the retail arbitrage guy. Quit his job as a store manager 2 years ago, and he's been full-time flipping goods from the shelves ever since. He went from working in a retail store to flipping inventory from the retail store. He's got knowledge in retail arbitrage, online arbitrage. He's been posting his journey. He's been documenting his journey for the last, when would you say you started documenting your journey?
Probably about a year and 3 months, year.
He's made a lot of progress. He's got 3,000 organic followers on Instagram. He's got his own Discord group that operates as a mastermind. They share OA deals in there. This guy, and he's just super smart, badass. You did some type of mud marathon, like you ran 100 miles, did 1,000 push-ups, all that kind of shit, right?
Something similar to that, yeah. It's a mud football team. We play in a couple of tournaments a year. But I mean, I used to do some racing, but more stick to the actual organized sports at this point in my life. But yeah,
Gotcha.
It's crazy stuff.
We have this guy for at least an hour, maybe 10. We'll see how long we talk. If you guys have questions, you're watching this right now, go ahead and ask them. We'll get to them at the end of the video, and we will answer every single question. So I want to make this video. I want to bring you on again just to give people an idea of what retail arbitrage is and what's really possible with retail arbitrage, but I also want to provide value for my existing audience because a lot of those guys are going to come in. Most of my audience are book people, but there are retail arbitrage people, and I think there's going to be so much opportunity with these retail stores closing down over the next couple months, and you're really in tune with that, the kind of changes that have taken place as far as FBA restrictions, little things like that. How are you adapting, and how'd you get started? So let's start with that first question. How'd you get started with retail arbitrage?
So it's kind of funny. So back when I used to work at the grocery store, one of my shift managers actually was pretty into like extreme couponing. And she used to tell me about it. And I mean, I guess I never had the free time to really get into extreme couponing. But she was telling me she was getting stuff for free. I mean, she would literally come in with like 10 DiGiorno pizzas and be like, here. And I'm like, what do I owe you for it? She goes, oh, no, I made money on it. So here you go. And I'm like, what? That's sick. And then, she would tell me about like Tide detergents, even packs of pens and all that kind of stuff. And I was like, oh, I wish there was a way to market this if you're getting it for free. She goes, yeah, I just give it to people. It's just more like about the hunt. And so she ended up actually finding videos online about retail arbitrage, told me about it. She goes, oh, if you'd like to sell this, you should look into this. So I mean, I watched video after video after video after video, and I was like, you know what, like this sounds fun. I'm sick of the grind. I'm sick of
how much fluff was out there versus like good information.
At the time I thought everything was good information, but honestly probably the stuff that I still in essence use today, or that I kept, probably 25% of it maybe. I definitely found specific people that I wish I kind of geared myself more towards their stuff first.
Who was your favorite person starting out?
Reezy, honestly. I mean, I know obviously he touched more about like books and sneakers, which I mean, obviously Nike and Adidas you couldn't do when you first started, but just he had tons of other videos that just talked about retail arbitrage and that kind of stuff. And I mean, even explaining, like the books and the shoes and that kind of stuff, you still learned what to do with other products, even though he was talking about stuff that was like harder for people to get into when they first started.
Gotcha. Yeah, he's had a lot of retail arbitrage videos go viral. They're always the ones with like tons of pictures of boxes, like Nike shoes, stuff like that.
Yeah, I definitely feel like he brought me the most, like his information was the most beneficial. It was the most genuine. It wasn't fluffed. It wasn't like, oh, get rich quick, you're gonna make millions. Like he was very like, no, you're gonna have to work hard, but the results will be there if you work hard.
Oh, someone's asking, what am I drinking? Someone said, what you drinking, Romer? ACV honey. It just says Facebook user, so it doesn't tell me who you are. All the Facebook people watching this. I don't even know if it tells me if you guys are in the live stream or not. And this is also going to be on a podcast. So this is going to be like sent to like 8 different platforms. Awesome. We're building out my description, my bio, and all the podcasting platforms. I'm trying to figure out what podcast people listen to. because there's Podbean, there's iTunes, there's Spotify, there's a lot of different apps. But anyway, this is Alpha Brain and turmeric, and I guess you could call it tea, but it's hot water with like supplements mixed into it. So hopefully it'll get me super focused and asking BuyLow some really good questions. Okay, so you started a couple years ago, you got into the free content, and you were able, at what point did you feel confident enough to like list your item and know what the hell you were doing?
So honestly, I probably watched 2-3 months worth of videos before I even bought my first item. And then I was very fortunate, I guess, at the time that's when Toys R Us was going out of business. So I definitely had a better pick of items for sale. I still, if I had the knowledge I do now, I mean, I would have cleaned out Toys R Us's. But probably after 3 months is when I first kind of actually bought items to send in. And I mean, I only sold for probably 2 months before I decided to quit my full-time job and do this full-time. So it was pretty quick. I guess I was so checked out of my old job, and then it was also I was working 80 hours a week at my other job and still doing this 20 hours a week, and I saw the potential for what I could make 20 hours a week when I was exhausted. So I was like, hey, if I can put a full 80 hours into this, like, there's some real potential there. I had enough saved up to pay my bills for 6 months as like a worst case scenario, and then just one day was just like, nope, I've had enough, I'm done, and just switched over and never looked back.
That's so awesome. That's so inspirational. So if are you Christian?
Nope.
Okay. Are you atheist?
I consider myself agnostic.
Okay, agnostic. So do you have an image of God or gods or creators or something?
Not really.
Okay, let's make one up, and let's say that he takes you and he says, look, BuyLow, you're gonna be able to go back in time and talk to you while you're still at the store, and that chick is coming up to you with the coupons and she's doing her thing, and she mentions the Amazon thing. He said, I'm gonna give you the opportunity to go back and tell yourself what store to go to and one technique to use when going in the store. So there's two things: what store to go to and what technique, like meaning like the actual physical actions you need to take, whether it's pulling your phone out of your pocket and scanning everything, whether it's pulling your phone out of your pocket and only scanning aisle 13, taking your phone out of your pocket and scanning only clearance. What store would you tell yourself to go to, and what hard, like actionable technique would you give yourself?
So I'm going to give two stores. One, just because, so like I said, Toys R Us. I was going to Toys R Us.
Dude, this agnostic God is going to fucking send you to hell for choosing two.
So Toys R Us, if I had the knowledge to do now, but otherwise, I wish I had told myself about Marshall's way back, because I didn't start using Marshalls until probably only like 7-8 months ago, which I kick myself now because I spent so much time just pretty much doing like Walmarts and Targets, and just doing a lot of the clearance stuff that I wasn't finding anything at Marshall, TJ Maxx, those kind of stores, just because I didn't know that there was profitable stuff there. And then probably the actionable thing is not restricting myself to just higher profits on things, but focusing more on being able to scan things and looking for stuff that's lower rank that might not make me as much money per item, but would sell exponentially faster.
Gotcha.
That's probably the actionable thing. Was I was just more focused on be like, oh, okay, I can make $20 on this, not realizing that I could make $3 on something else and sell it 20 times before I could sell one.
That would probably help you learn faster too.
Yes, no, it definitely would.
Because the flips occur faster versus you sending something in, you got to wait 6 months for it to sell. That was a 6-month long lesson.
Yeah, and I think a lot of people, especially if they're into more clearance shopping, a lot of people are looking for those bigger margins. So I almost feel like you play that kind of price battle, the price tanking, more with those. And I think a lot more people are almost scared to get the lower profit items. anybody who's doing retail arbitrage, like especially when you first start, I know I even gave advice to people being like, only get stuff that's 100% ROI, or minimum go to like 80%. And now I find myself getting stuff all the time that's between 30 and 50 because I understand the keep it charts, and I understand that, there hasn't had that roller coaster ride with the prices. Like, it stayed the same price, the same sales volume for such a period of time that I'm comfortable only making 30% because I know it's going to sell, and I'm good. Where those higher ticket items, you see that roller coaster ride all the time with prices, and then sometimes you're going to hang on to it for months on end until all the price tankers are gone, just to make what you wanted to originally.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
So kind of fast forwarding a little bit, because this is just stuff that's on my mind, and I'm sure this will be beneficial towards beginners. For some reason, I think a lot of beginners are going to watch this video just because of the thumbnail I made. It's like pretty clickbaity. But what do you think? I'm going to ask you two questions. What do you think the worst thing in the retail arbitrage world is going to come out of this whole pandemic?
The worst thing that's going to come out?
The worst consequence. Maybe you're experiencing it now. Maybe it's something you thought about at night, like, shit, like this is really going to screw things up. What's the worst? What's the worst that's happening?
I mean, the worst that's happening is so many people, I mean, unfortunately, with greed, we're selling things and price gouging astronomically. And I mean, there was I think it's up over like 4,000 Amazon sellers didn't get their accounts suspended, got their accounts like taken away for extreme price gouging. Do I feel bad for those people? Honestly, not really, because of the fact that they were, in essence, taking advantage of a pandemic, and people were pricing things that were normally sold on Amazon for $20. They were selling them for 100 plus. So, I mean, that's tough for them, but at the same point, like, I feel like the toughest part is going to be a lot of people's stores, like honey holes that they were going to, little mom and pop places. I really think a lot of those are going to close. It might be great for the time being while they can get extra deals on those, but as soon as those are gone, like, some people have honey holes, and that's where they make 75% of their profits is just from that. So I think a lot of those are going to close.
That answer is probably going to tie into the second question. What's the best thing that's going to happen? A lot of those closures are probably going to open up a lot of opportunity, right?
Yeah. I mean, it's definitely going to open a lot of opportunity if you're already kind of into the game, or even if you're new. You're going to have a lot of local places that are going to be shutting down. It's just, more about doing your research. And I think, unfortunately, a lot of the big box stores too are going to have crazy deals. It's just, again, knowing that there's so many other people out there that might, like, if something is marked down at Walmart in your area, it's marked down at thousands of other Walmarts. And I think not necessarily Walmart, but like some of the other bigger stores, like I'm sure Marshall's, TJ Maxx, there's going to be so many places that are running deals after this because they're just going to be, looking to drive in business, get it going again. And then people are going to see what it's selling for on Amazon, but then there's also going to be 100 other people buying the same thing on discount, and then you're going to get the price tanking, so people aren't going to make what they thought they could on an item. So, but yeah, I mean, there's going to be plenty of opportunity with the deals as long as you get the deals the right way. And then unfortunately, for stores, I bet you there's a lot of local places that are going to be closing, but it might be a great way for resellers to kind of, get the gears rolling again by going to these stores and sourcing stuff.
Yeah. Yeah, that skill of knowing when stuff's going to tank and if stuff's going to tank, it's probably just like a gut feeling you get over time, right? You develop that muscle of really, okay, this item's going to tank, this item's not. Or are there more hard metrics where you can look at, okay, this has 100 offers, it's going to tank? Is it very mathematical, or is it more, I guess, nonsensical? I don't know the word for it, but just like doesn't really have a pattern that you could define and like program a software to really catch. You kind of need to develop that gut.
So when I first started, I definitely thought there was more of like a gut feeling. But now, I mean, there's definitely software to an extent that can kind of help you. So one of the things that I use for a lot of like Walmart Target deals or even like Lowe's is a program called BrickSeek. It's just on the internet, but what it is, it will show you kind of like local deals and that kind of stuff. And then part of what I do is not only just finding like the cheapest price around me, but it also shows you the percentage of stores that have it marked down. So if you see like this particular product and 80% of stores marked down, you almost assume that that's going to tank in price because 80% of stores mark it down, where you might find something that is super marked down, but only 6% of stores have it marked down.
Gotcha.
When you feel a lot more confident that that price is going to stay the same because not everywhere has it marked down.
Gotcha.
So there is those deals for a lot of places, and as long as you're using your common sense, where the same thing, like time of year, seasonal stuff, you know, if it's marked down around you, it's probably going to be marked down in most areas. But in the same sense, like living in the north, like when stuff is coming either out of winter or out of summer, you know, you got to remember that like down south, even in the winter time, people are still buying summerish items. Yeah. You know, so like that's easier to buy up here than versus, you know, down south.
Gotcha. We got some questions rolling in. Jerry is asking, do you sell on eBay too?
Yes, I definitely don't do a ton on eBay. I'm doing more now because of everything that's going on.
Do you cross list?
Yes. Yep. So I cross list. So
with Inventory Lab?
I don't cross list with Inventory Lab. I have a cross listed software that I use for eBay and Mercari and tiny bit of Poshmark. You can just list it on one, pretty much click two simple buttons and it cross lists for you. Like it takes all the pictures and downloads them for you, and it takes your title, your description, all that stuff. When I'm going between, I don't like to cross list. I do cross listing individually when I'm doing Amazon FBM and eBay, just because a lot of the times there's a bigger difference in price between those two platforms, at least that I've noticed, comparatively when I'm using the other platforms. So I don't have that, but I've done way more eBay now with everything going on, just because right now it's what can you get eyes on. People are home bored, they're buying things, and certain things are worth it to list on eBay that aren't worth it to list Amazon FBM. If I could do FBA, I would, but certain categories you just can't.
I think you asked me this question. I'm going to ask you this question. Are you noticing, or do you think there's going to be a prime bump or a more significant prime bump since Amazon's not allowing prime shipments right now?
I mean, I can break it down for you just because I've kind of noticed. So I've been, most of my popular items I definitely kept track of. And I even purposely did a couple things higher. Like I had some really tough sales for a couple of days because I was watching to see how many things, you know, were kind of going out of stock.
Can you hear me better now?
Probably a little bit more.
Dude, my mic wasn't even plugged in.
I could hear you fine before.
Okay.
So I noticed a lot of things, and I knew that they would because I can't hear you at all now.
Okay, what about now?
There you go. Perfect. Nice and clear.
Wow. I feel, well, I had my setup going. I was talking into a mic that wasn't even working. It was just my computer picking it up. Anyway.
No, that's all right. So yeah, I definitely noticed that because a lot of things, especially in, you know, categories like sports, outdoors, toys, those you can't send in Amazon right now for FBA. So I knew a lot of that stuff, if you had it in FBA, it was slowly going to sell out. And it's tough for people to get to that adjustment where they, you know, like people are like, oh, I'm still going to order Prime, not realizing that eventually those Prime things were in essence almost going to go away. So something that was $14.99, you know, might have sold out, and the $15.99 sold out, $16.99 sold out. So now you can sell this item at like $17.99, $18.99 if you have it as Prime. So certain things I actually increased my price on and just waited for people to sell out.
What are you using to reprice?
So I use BQL.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean, I've had no issues with it, but I definitely I raised a lot of my minimums. Just so I knew eventually it would hit on there. But yeah, I noticed a huge prime bump as far as like the more popular items, the items that don't sell a lot. I actually noticed that a lot of prices went down because I think a lot of sellers were just worried about like cash flow and were just selling. So popular items, I think prices went up. not as popular. I honestly think prices went down on a lot of things that didn't sell as often.
Gotcha. Katie Morgan in the house.
What's up, Katie?
Shout out Katie Morgan. She helped me manage my Facebook group for a while. Her sister actually made this logo that you see up here in the upper right. And yeah, she's awesome. She's a hustler. She says, "Are you part of any group or newsletters that give you heads up about sales and deals?"
So yes and no. So there is a bunch of websites online that have deals. So one of the ones that I probably use the most is called Slick Deals. Slick Deals gives me a bunch of different kind of deals on a whole bunch of different websites. There's another one people don't use a lot anymore. It's actually called Woot, WOOT. It's actually it's created by Amazon, so it's kind of funny because I've actually bought stuff on there from, in essence, Amazon to reflip on Amazon.
How does that work?
So it's just kind of like they do a lot of like closeouts for certain places. I think it's just stuff that so Amazon obviously only wants to buy in like crazy high bulk. So this is probably like, a place is probably giving them 500 items and 450 of them are probably worth it for them to list on Amazon because they're getting 5,000-6,000 or something. And then they probably get, 50 items that they probably get 200 of, but they have to buy it in order to get everything. So they just, kind of use this in order to list it, just to move it and get rid of it.
It's called Woot?
Yes, Woot, WOOT.
Okay. I'm going to share something real quick too. Let's see. Let me share my screen real quick. Boom, baby. All right. So this is called Google Alerts. So you type in whatever you want to be alerted for. So you can type in small business grants, which is what I'm looking for now. That's basically free money from the government. You can type in stores closing, and you want to set these alerts, and then you'll get notified. You'll get these notifications. You could type in like Toys R Us closed, and you can literally type in these stores that you think are about to close. You could type in Toys R Us closed or Marshall's closed, whatever mom and pop stores are near you. You can type in everything you think of, and then you'll be the first one to know, because whenever there's an article published on it, you'll get an email alert. So that's been golden for me.
I like it. Those are good to do. Yeah.
And you can do a lot of stuff with Google Alerts, and you kind of want to fine tune it so you don't get spammed. You don't get like a whole bunch of shit, but you want to do it to where like when you get a notification, it's like, oh shit, I better look into this. It might be worth it. Yeah, that's gonna be huge for retail arbitrage people.
Oh sure, yeah. You wouldn't want to just type in the word deals in there and then get a Google alert anytime deals.
Oh yeah,
probably get.
You even got to be close. Like right now, I'm getting spammed with the closing. So like I typed in permanent closure or permanent closing because there's so many articles coming out about stuff temporarily closing down from the new laws.
Makes sense. Yeah, that definitely makes sense.
What are you doing as far as the FBA problem?
So I had to switch gears a ton. So probably about 95% of the stuff that I sell on a regular basis is what Amazon has considered non-essential. So I went and was having some great sales at the beginning of the month. They switched gears with this. I sold out of a lot of the stuff that I had in FBA, and my sales tanked. And then I switched gears. I went to a couple stores before things kind of got closed down and loaded up as much as I could on grocery, some of the scientific and industrial category, which is a lot of like home goods and that kind of stuff that, that people will get for every day, some cleaning. But again, no price gouging over here. I'm not that guy. And so I switched gears a lot. I mean, I don't normally do grocery just because I was unfamiliar with it. But I almost kind of had to teach myself. I watched video after video just as far as like grocery retail arbitrage, just because I didn't know it that well.
Gotcha.
I knew things were flying off the shelf.
Who's putting all the content out there for grocery arbitrage?
I don't remember the names, to be honest, because there wasn't one person that had a whole bunch of videos. There was a lot of people that had just like single videos here or there.
Gotcha.
So I watched one, took information that I liked or felt that it was, like comparative to what the rest I do, and vice versa for a whole bunch of videos. But there definitely wasn't one person that I thought I had a ton of them by any means. But,
gotcha.
Yeah, it's all free videos. It's all on YouTube. So
yeah, YouTube's crazy. During this quarantine, I've been learning lots of different salsa moves. been putting on the YouTube, and it's crazy what you can find. I was doing yoga for a while too. I actually did yoga before this live stream, and you can type in yoga 10 minutes. You can type in yoga 15 minutes. You can type in meditation 10 minutes, yoga 45 minutes, meditation 45 minutes. There's a video for every fucking thing you can imagine out there.
Yeah,
like literally everything. Like, I don't want to do yoga for 15 minutes. I want to do it for 30. And there's a video out there. It's awesome.
It's pretty crazy what's out there.
So as far as social media goes, what's been your biggest ROI from posting on social media? Is it that little mastermind group you have?
Yeah, I have a Discord deal game. So we do, usually when things are up and running, we usually do 2 to 4 deals a day. We'll post, it's usually mostly OA, just because obviously if you're online, it's easier to do online deals. We do deals, we'll post deals through BrickSeek. So BrickSeek, for those that don't know it, one, you should definitely go look into it. There's a free version and paid versions, but you can find deals at your local places, Walmart's, Targets, Home Depot, Lowe's, Office Max if you have them around you, and Staples, the ones that are still open. And it literally will tell you when things are marked down in particular stores. So we'll post deals about that, and then people can look in their area and see if it's on there. We have discussions for Amazon FBA, Amazon FBM. We talk about eBay. We talk about Mercari. So I think that's probably, my best investment as far as my time, as far as that kind of stuff for online stuff. And it's literally just called BuyLowBoloz. It's just
BuyLowBoloz. Hell yeah.
Different variation of my name.
Hell yeah. How's gatedinventory.com going?
Going pretty well. We've pretty much kind of paused it for now, just because pretty much most of the stuff we were getting from people was all stuff that you couldn't send into FBA anyways. So we helped a couple clients that had it. If they really wanted to list at FBM, we would list at FBM for them, like trusted clients, because we want everything obviously sent to us, because we do a lot of like Nike, Adidas, that kind of stuff. So that would be tough for a new person to come in and be like, hey, I've got these Nikes. Can you list them for me? I'll ship them out. So it was going well beforehand. We kind of put a pause on the majority of it just because of the types of products people were sending us. And even the people that switch gears to grocery and certain home items, that stuff's usually heavier. So it's not worth it for them to send it to us for us to sell it for them.
Gotcha. Yeah, that's, I'll ask you this question, but obviously you don't want people sending you or sending items to Amazon on your behalf. But have you had people do that before, like that you really trust?
Pretty much only people that we've like met in person, that we've dealt with for a while,
Gotcha.
That we've done shipments with.
Like in an ideal world, that's how it would be done.
Oh, it'd be great, because then they could, in essence, it's almost as if they'd be ungated in that particular category,
right?
And they just, use our account as their own third-party version of it, in order to send it in. So that'd be great down the road, but it's so tough. And the biggest reason we don't do it is we don't want one person to do something wrong, which closes our account for everybody else that we're consigning for. So.
Right. Yeah. 100% makes sense.
Yes. And I'll squash this now. I've actually had a couple people being like, hey, Romer's doing restrictedinventory.com, right? And I'm like, yeah, I'm well aware. Romer and I have had discussions like this. There's no animosity between us because we both have restricted inventory services.
Do they think I copied you?
No, a couple people thought I copied you, and I was like, I literally told him the moment I was doing this before he even launched his, and he was like, I'm doing that too.
Yeah. Well, I was doing mine, but I didn't brand it as restrictedinventory.com, but now I brand it. Check this out. This is my little ad. Restrictedinventory.com, babe.
Grind hard, well done, sir, and welcome to the freaking Well Show.
I'm actually having that kid on, the kid that sings that rap song. He's coming on my podcast next week.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, he's a high school friend of mine.
I'm excited to watch that one. I've been watching pretty much all of yours.
I appreciate that.
Recently, I super enjoyed, not taking anything away from you, but Rakin's one with Jameson last week.
Oh yeah.
That was one. I really liked yours with Amazon Lit. Was that 2 days ago?
Yeah, it was 2 days ago. Because last night I interviewed a dancer for the first time. Something a little bit different on my channel.
Yeah, nothing wrong with that. I mean, it's part of your brand. It's part of what you do.
Exactly. The YouTube audience doesn't really know me as a dancer, so I'm sure they were kind of taken aback. But Instagram, like that's almost all I post now.
I'm sure your Instagram audience have probably half of it knows you as a dancer and be like, oh, he resells too?
Yeah, exactly. It's this lady posted on one of my posts. She commented. She said I forgot what she said, but her name was Latina Hustler, and I was like, I 100% cultivated. Like this is like from me posting over the last year about reselling and dancing. Like this is my little baby right here. This is like the exact audience member that I've been catering to.
That's what you're working towards. That's funny. Yeah.
So what else do you want to talk about, man? What do you think people should be doing differently as far as moving forward?
Yeah, I mean, I can kind of explain what I've done differently just if it helps people. So right before things happened, because we literally got like an email at 2:30 one morning, at least Eastern time. It was 2:30 in the morning, pretty much just saying, hey, just so you guys know, we're only taking essentials now. If you created...
Did you check that email in the morning? Were you like up?
No, I didn't. I wasn't. I had actually probably gone to bed like maybe 30, 45 minutes before I got that email. I'm super late night person, and like I don't set an alarm. I don't wake up usually till 9 in the morning.
Okay, gotcha. For some reason, I thought you were one of those psycho people that woke up pretty early.
I used to be, but now it's just kind of like I'd almost rather stay up late. Just I get some of the best work done that I can 1:30, 2 o'clock in the morning for some reason. Gotcha. So we all got this email, and it was pretty much just if you created if you were in the middle of like creating something, you could send that stuff in. But otherwise, after that, they weren't going to be taking anything that wasn't, baby products, pet supplies, beauty, grocery, industrial and scientific. Like they were just like, nope, we're only taking those. Those are the ones that we need to focus on right now. So I had literally I kind of saw something like that coming, but I had just done a probably huge multi-day sourcing trip, and I had tons and tons and tons of items. And again, 95% of the stuff that I sell isn't in those categories. So what I did is I literally had to go through every single item that I sourced and pretty much figure out, okay, can I sell this FBM? Is it worth it with the shipping? Do I plan, and kind of looking at the sales rank and the sales volume on Keepa, be like, okay, what do I have to price it at FBM to get the same profits as if I was going to send it in FBA, including the shipping? And I literally went through probably 400 or 500 different items just to kind of see what was worth it and what wasn't. And I mean, honestly, there was a lot of stuff that I literally just have in bins and boxes labeled send into FBA when I can.
Gotcha.
Because it's not worth it. Now, at the same point, if things go past April 5th when they are saying a lot of this stuff, I still might revisit and be like, okay, we haven't been able to send these items in FBA. Who's still selling at FBA? How much has the price gone up? Is it worth it now to list? If somebody really wants,
it seems like most of it will be, right? Because all the other FBA offers would have sold out and the price would have gone up theoretically.
Theoretically, yeah. Again, it just almost kind of depends on how much is sold beforehand. If something was only selling 10 times in a month beforehand, it probably hasn't gone up a significant amount, or the FBA sellers haven't gone out of it. But I mean, I have items that sell 33 times a day. That kind of stuff is probably long gone FBA wise, and you could come in FBM 20% higher than the FBA price used to be, and you could make more doing an FBM now than you could FBA beforehand, just because of the availability.
How many items do you run into that don't have FBA offers?
Now or beforehand?
Just period, like over the last year. How many of your items that you source are, no FBA offers, and how do you price those items?
I mean, honestly, normally maybe 2-3% that don't have FBA beforehand.
Okay, so it's not a huge concern.
No, not at all. And I mean, if it doesn't, honestly, I just look at the Keepa chart, and for the most part, within the last 3 months, there was somebody selling an FBA, and I'll usually just price it around that. I might go a couple dollars higher just because there is no other FBA offers currently, and just kind of test the waters with it and see if I can get a couple extra dollars out of it. But for the most part, yeah, it's pretty easy to tell just looking at a Keepa chart. Gotcha. Yep. But yeah, I mean, there's even certain things that I know I listed FBM, but so say for example, there's a product that I actually sold, I think 38 of in the last 24 hours FBM. I was selling it at $14.95 beforehand FBA in order to make like a $5 profit on a $5 item. And I figured out with shipping, I needed to price it at $17.99 FBM in order to make the same profit. So I listed it $17.99 FBM. I hadn't sold anything for the last 6 days, and then my price became the lowest price at $17.99 because everybody else had sold out, and I've sold 34 of them in the last 24 hours.
Nice.
So, yeah, certain things you just have to wait. I think a lot of it is watching prices currently.
So when it comes to the waiting, do you set floor profits to make sure the price, your repricer doesn't tank the price when the market tanks?
Yes. So what I do is usually on Mondays, I'll actually go into my repricer and I'll make sure anything new just has a minimum price on it. I usually won't.
Anything new is in. Fuck? There's like an air horn outside. Did you hear that?
I did hear that. People are getting stir crazy already.
People are going crazy. There was like a spotlight on one of these buildings, and there was some lady screaming this morning. People are losing it out. I went to the grocery store today.
Yeah, I'm sure it's pretty crazy everywhere right now. So
yeah,
no, I definitely make sure everything has a minimum price. So if people are going in, it's not all of a sudden like my repricer doesn't go crazy on me and just tank and follow what other people's prices are.
Yeah, I used to be like when I was doing online arbitrage, buying textbooks, I was super attached to the prices. And I would one year I set all these minimum floors, and I thought I was so smart for doing it. But then I found out like the market's rational, the market's going to do what it wants to do. People are going to come in and send a bunch of inventory, and then students are going to have newer edition books that they're, it's going to cause the demand to go down. And what I found is with the books, they would tank in price, and just because I set a minimum profit, that doesn't mean that I'm going to get that price. Like just because I set a minimum price doesn't mean it's eventually going to sell at the price. The market price may never recover. Yeah. And so after a certain period, do you lift that floor price, or you go back and?
Yeah. So after a month, I'll go back into my repricer and I'll check and see what's a month old. Okay. And anything that's a month old, I'll usually lower it up to about 15% as far as my minimum. And then everything 2 months old, I'll lower 30% off of my minimum. And then if anything gets 3 months old, at that point you're starting to get fees. I will literally almost, I'll change it to break even. Just in essence, getting my money back what I paid for the product, because at that point, if it's 3 months old, I'd rather just get my money back and invest it in something else.
Gotcha.
And then 4 months, I'll price it to move it quick. Or I'll even figure out if it's worth it for me to get it shipped back and figure out what I want to do with it. But
what are the fees that incur in 3 months?
I don't have the exact numbers, to be honest. It's not anything dramatic. But I think I only had.
Is it like the first storage fees, or is it like a different type of storage?
Yeah, it's long-term storage fees. So anything once you get to 3 months, it's considered long-term storage fees. You're not paying any fees on anything for them to store it. For the first.
Is it different for each item or category? Is it the same for all categories?
It's different for different categories, and it's different for like size and weight of stuff.
I'm saying like the 3 month thing. Do they all start incurring fees at 3 months?
Yes. Yep. Everything's 3 months.
Okay.
Yeah.
But then there's like the super long-term storage fees that start kicking in 12 months, right?
Yeah. Super. Yeah. Honestly, I've never had anything in there longer than 5 months.
Okay. Books are different because
right.
Three months is like still super young.
Yeah.
But 12 months is when they start charging the monthly storage fee, and that's the big one for us. That's when we start pulling inventories at 12 months.
Yeah, I think it'd be different. I understand what you're doing, especially I think it'd be different. I would look at it different for one-offs versus when I'm buying stuff, I'm trying to buy 30, 40, 50, 60 of something. If I've got 50 of the same thing that still hasn't sold, I'm getting that long-term storage fee on 50 of the same item, and that would add up. Yeah. So I think that's why I try to move through it faster. Yeah,
that's definitely a different dynamic, having a bunch of one item, because if it's not selling and you have 50 of them, there's really no point in having the other 49. You might as well just keep one.
Yes.
Jason's got a question. He's asking, I'm curious, does Matt chase 1 or 2 items at a time, or does he go more by store by store?
So I will, when I'm first trying to find stuff, I will buy 1 or 2 of something, but I'm usually hitting, like I'll usually have a specific store day. So like if I'm going to Marshall's that day, I'm probably going to be hitting 5, 6, 7, 8 Marshalls that day. So
okay.
I have no problem. I have no problem picking up 1 or 2 of this particular item in one store, because I know that if I go into another store and I see that, it's worth picking up. So hopefully by the end of the day, I've got 20 of that item. I've just collected it over 8.
Kind of like batching your sourcing.
Yeah.
Because if you find one good item, you're like, oh, okay, I'm going to find these at like 5 of the other 7 stores I'm going to.
Exactly. Yeah. There's probably, I mean, I don't have it written down anywhere, but I probably have 40 different items that I know if I walk into a Marshall's or TJ Maxx, if I see it, I grab it. I don't even need to look it up. I just grab it because I know that it's profitable.
That's how Jameson is.
Yeah, I've seen some of his stuff, and I need to talk to him more. But
he's super old school. He doesn't even use apps a lot of times.
What does he use?
I remember talking to him. I went to I was at a store with him. I was like, dude, like, show me what you do right now. He's like, oh, I just kind of look, oh, those video games are good. Oh, those aren't going to sell for that much. And I was like, what do you like? How did you no, I'm like, Jameson, how the fuck did you start? And he's like, oh, I just knew. And I was just like, dude, like, I need more than that. Like, you obviously make a lot of money or something. Like, you're hiding these secrets. But I think he'll use Amazon seller app occasionally, but like, he's not huge. Like he's developed more of an eye for it. Like it's kind of like what you're talking about. You'll just walk in a store and you'll just know.
Sure. I mean, there's certain things. Don't get me wrong. I mean, if you're walking in, and I know I took part of it. I didn't really have a social media presence at the time, but I know Jameson talked about that he got big into like the 3-cent video games at Walmart. I don't know if you heard about that at all. Walmart went through, and anything they in essence just wanted to get rid of, they marked it 3 cents. It wasn't meant to be sold to the customers. They just put it in their system as 3 cents. So this way the Walmart employees knew in essence to pull it off the shelf because they were going to do like liquidation pallets, that kind of stuff with it. But pretty much every store marked it down. And I mean, Walmart employees, no offense to any Walmart employees, not always the fastest to do markdowns and stuff like that. So, I mean,
how many Walmart employees we got in here?
Yeah. So, I mean, we were going in the stores getting, I remember one store walking in and I think I got like 42 games and they were 3 cents a piece. So, I mean, I was walking out paying what, $1.26 for like 40 plus video games.
Dang, that's crazy.
So it's crazy as far as that stuff goes. I mean, no, that's something like if it's a 3 cent game, I don't even need to look it up. Even if it's crazy high ranked, I'll still buy it and then figure out, okay, what do I have to price it at in order to sell it faster afterwards?
He's saying, makes sense. I chased, what is that? Similac?
Similac. I think it's like a baby formula. I could be wrong, but I think it's that. On sale in Tamagotchis in January when Tom started looking for things. Yeah, so I kind of get what he's saying. So there's definitely certain items that are like the hot items, or we actually share a lot of those in like our Discord group. So I'll show one of them just because it's been around long enough. So like these mini brands were like a hot Christmas item. I sold over $7,000 worth of these just within like a 30-day period. Just because it was a hot item. I would go store to store to store. They had some in Target, some in Walmart. They had them in Five Below. They had them in where else did they have them?
Were you sharing this on social media at the time where you're like, oh, this is mine, I'm getting all the profit?
So I have no problem sharing this. So way back on social media, I actually shared that I had a deal that I would share for people for $50, and I would do the research for them using BrickSeek and figure out what stores around them said they had it. So for $50, I told people what the product was because a lot of people didn't know that it was selling as crazy. And then I went on BrickSeek and told them, hey, okay, within a 20-mile radius, go to this store, this store, this store, this store, and you'll find them.
So you would take their zip code and you would plug it in and.
Yep.
Nice.
I had 5 or 6 people that ended up profiting over $2,000 off of that deal. So it was a $50 investment for them. They made over $2,000 just by following what I told them as far as like the groups and stuff like that. So I definitely understand as far as chasing items. There's many items that will be released online that people will look for But yeah, chasing deals, I'll definitely do that. A lot of the times what I'll do is I won't go to a store just for that item. I'll go looking for that item, but I'll know, okay, while I'm here, I'm also going to look for this. Because I never want to go to a store and, have a complete bust in the store. I want to go looking for one thing, but knowing I've got alternates to look for as well.
Did you ever hear about that Amazon Slayer guy?
Amazon Slayer?
Yeah.
No,
He used to give bolos out. I heard something happened to him recently, but he used to he would charge people to follow his Instagram page. There's still people out there like that charge to follow your Instagram page, and then you only give, you post bolos. That's the whole thing.
They might get him individually. I don't know. I suppose you can make your Instagram private and you have to pay in order to.
That's what he would do. And somehow I was following him and I thought what he was doing was really interesting. But then I think at the time I was using the unfollow strategy, and I unfollowed him, and then I couldn't follow him again. So, but his bio said you had to pay $200, and I was like, fuck that. I'm just a book guy.
Yeah. I suppose
it's interesting.
It's probably similar to, in essence, what I'm doing with the Discord group. He was just using it through Instagram as a platform.
Yes.
I like Discord just because you can, have conversations.
Well, there's a ton of value in it. It's for $50 making $2,000 potentially. And you did the work of making sure you didn't just give them a UPC. You made sure that it was in the stores around them.
Yeah. I definitely, it was pricier for one item, but it came with a lot. I literally would do all the research for you. I literally just said, go to the store, get this product, it'll make you money. And it was $50. And
there could be a whole business around that. You just provide value by letting people know, people don't want to do all the research themselves. Just be hey, look, $25 an item, and then we're not going to let more than 25 people know about this. So we're going to cap it at 25. Or you do it zip code area. We're not going to let any person know twice in this zip code. You're the only one.
Yeah. So part of the deal was I made the deal was I would only let people know, and you couldn't be within 50 miles of somebody else that I had already given that deal to, just so you couldn't do that. But it's in essence what I'm doing with the Discord group, where it's $30 a month. You get 2 to 4 deals every single day. And so at the end of the month, you're getting between 60 and 120 deals for $30 for the entire month. Here's the item. Check these stores, see if it has it. If great, cool. Honestly, most people make their money back off of one deal. So it's a crazy cool concept that I see more and more people doing it now, but it's still a newer concept.
How many retail arbitrage guys are full-time out of your audience? How many of them are part-timers, and how many of them this is what they do for a living?
Probably, I'd say 60-40, 60% probably full-time, 40% part-time as far as the people that follow me. At least the interaction I get from people, probably 60-40, including what I see as well too. I'm sure there's probably people that follow me that, have never interacted with me and they don't post much. So I don't know what they are, but I think from interaction that I get from others, probably 60-40.
Jason saying Walgreens was discontinuing one type of Similac. Is that how you say it? Similac? And that's why made about $800 profit. Nice.
Okay. Yeah, there's a big market for discontinued items. My only advice to people with discontinued items currently is careful. Beforehand, we were cool with it, but now because Amazon's doing all this price gouging thing, people are getting dinged left and right for potentially high prices on things, even if it's discontinued. Because discontinued items are supposed to be pricier, but Amazon's no, that sold for this amount 6 months ago. Why are you charging so much?
I wonder if Amazon's gonna get in trouble for that. They're
so a bunch of people.
What's the name for that? You're controlling the market. You're controlling the price of a market.
Yeah, I forget the technical term.
It's not like a monopoly. It's not what it is, but they're still controlling the price by owning the marketplace.
Right, and there's actually a bunch of people that are already suing Amazon because Amazon kicked them off for price gouging, and they have screenshots of where Amazon was in essence doing the exact same thing that they got them for. I get it because Amazon is just running bots, so it's not like a physical person changing prices. But still, how are you going to ding somebody for something that you didn't change your own algorithm to fix and catch itself?
Jason's saying it's called price fixing. I'm going to go close the store real quick because we have a drawbridge near us, and there's a boat coming, and they have this recording of this lady, and she keeps saying, "Get behind the gate, get behind the gate." All right, I'm back, baby. Who, in your opinion, is there anyone that you've seen where you're just like, they're absolute, like, I want to be them in retail arbitrage, like an idol of
in retail arbitrage?
Yeah, maybe they're not big on social media. Maybe just like brush shoulders with them one day. Just someone who's like, you're like, that's where I want to get to.
Honestly, with retail arbitrage, probably Jameson, to be honest. You don't hear.
Would you want his bald head?
Yeah, no, I got enough, but there's enough here. I cut a lot off too, but I think you don't see too many people doing the kind of numbers he does doing retail arbitrage. Honestly, to see the kind of numbers he does, most people are doing some version of private label, some version of wholesale, where he's, as far as I know, just strictly doing retail arbitrage. And
what were his numbers? Because I was actually sitting right here when the interview was happening, so I heard the questions, but I didn't hear the answers.
I don't think he discussed it in that one too much, but I know in the past, I know he's done, I think, like 750,000 in a year.
Yeah, I think he's done more than that. I think I like titled my video something crazy like 800,000.
Yeah, so I mean, I was pretty happy, and I worked a lot last year, and I mean, I was just under 300,000 last year, so it's pretty crazy to hear some of his numbers. And again, so one of the things I learned from Jameson was more what I talked about earlier, as far as finding items that sell faster. You might not make as much on the individual item, but if you sell it faster, the amount more that you'll sell, you'll make way more profit that way too. So
yeah.
But yeah, so I think honestly, he's probably who I look to the most with RA. Wholesale, definitely Amazon Lit, because that's what they do is just absolutely crazy.
And you mentioned having some interest in wholesale.
Yeah, honestly, I was probably getting to the point where I was going to start looking into that. I wish I had gotten into it earlier, especially with everything going on. Because if people had wholesale contracts, if they sold items that were in the categories that you couldn't, that stuff you literally can't keep off the shelf. Because like I literally would send in some grocery items that I found, and it would literally sell. Like I'd send in 40 of something, and it's gone the same day. So it's absolutely crazy. There's items that when I was doing the research on it, there was 32 sellers, and by the time my products are there, all 32 sellers are sold out. So that's
Jason's asking a question. I'm pretty sure you've answered this, but he's saying, do you prefer a quick nickel or a slow dime?
Now definitely a quick nickel. When I first started, I think a slow dollar, probably not a slow dime, but a slow dollar. Yeah, because I think before I had, I don't want to say very limited capital, but obviously much more limited capital. So like getting the best return I could on the dollar that I was spending made more sense to me, where, now I'm taking advantage of loans and doing all this other kind of stuff where now I've got more liquid to spend on stuff. Now it's just about turn it fast, make your money, rinse and repeat.
How comfortable are you with purchasing items online with all this shit going on?
What do you mean as far as to?
Because it's pretty, I guess retail arbitrage, all of it's kind of hefty pricing for the most part compared to books. Books are so cheap, but like spending $20 to make 10, like online right now, I guess since we don't really know what's going on, like as far as like the demand of different products, are you being more hesitant with your purchasing decisions on online arbitrage? No,
not at all. I've gotten, probably if you asked me a year ago, yes, but I was probably 98% RA and 2% OA at the time. Now I'm probably 70-30. So I had done a decent amount of OA as of recent anyways. And I think the stuff that I'm finding, it's not like the demand for certain items is going to be a lot heftier than it was before. So, I'm going in with a lot more confidence. I've already switched and bought a whole bunch of OA stuff that I didn't buy before, gotten it in, send it in Amazon. And again, it's gone as soon as it's available. Pretty much as soon as I saw that, like this was happening, once we got that email, I literally went the next day, did research that day. Like I wasn't hesitating because I knew it was going to get worse before it got better. Yeah, I didn't waste time. I literally switched to grocery that day. Like I got that email. I woke up, I think like 8 o'clock that morning, read the email.
Took your eggs out of your refrigerator and listed them.
yeah. Was it normal right now?
Babe, don't open up the eggs.
Yeah. But yeah, I went to places that I hadn't gone before because I knew that they had grocery items. I looked for grocery items in places that I never thought of. Like I'd never scanned grocery items at Walmart before because to me, grocery is grocery. But I actually now have probably 4 or 5 items that I can consistently get at Walmart's that aren't sold out of. Because of consumers buying them, but like I get those and now sell those, and I'll probably continue to sell them now afterwards because now I have that knowledge. So if anything, now I'll be able to sell this new stuff plus the old stuff once we're able to sell it again.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
So what's your work week look like Monday through Sunday? What are you doing? Are you doing different tasks on a Monday than you are on a Friday? Do you have like a listing day? Walk us through your week.
So Monday is primarily the day that I will do I guess we'll call it office duties. Checking prices, redoing, like putting minimums and max in on my repricer for new items that I send in the week beforehand. Checking things if it's a month old, 2 months old, all that kind of stuff. So doing all my repricing, I'll try and do on Monday. I'll try in essence and I definitely am not the best as far as like organizing all my receipts and stuff like that. But like all the paperwork, I'll in essence try and do on Monday. Monday, like I said,
what does your day have like a general structure to it? Like, do you wake up in the morning and the first 5 hours are dedicated to drinking coffee and sitting down on the computer, and the last 5 hours are like different tasks? Do you structure your days like that?
So what I would normally do first thing in the morning is pretty much do all of my, because there's still items that I sell FBM even when all this wasn't going on. Just because there's certain items that are easier to sell FBM. I've been, like I said, a smaller presence on eBay, but still selling on eBay. I'm selling Mercari. So first thing I'll do is I'll package up all that stuff so it's done for the day. Obviously over the weekend, you're probably going to get a little bit more. So I'll do that as part of Monday's day 2. But like Wednesday morning, I'm checking, okay, do I have any FBM sales? Do I have any eBay sales? Do I have any Mercari sales? And if I do, I'll package those up just so I can get those ready. So hopefully I can, get a pickup scheduled for same day. It just kind of depends. Most of the time.
Is that not an everyday thing? Shipping out products?
No. So, very honestly, because I don't have a huge presence on like eBay, I definitely more now just because of what's going on. But beforehand, there's certain days I don't have anything that I'm physically shipping out. Just because, if I'm sending in stuff for FBA, a lot of the times I'll source for 2 or 3 days. I'll prep for a day or two, and then I ship it out, after like a 4 or 5 day period where I've done all this work.
Gotcha.
I used to do more smaller shipments, but now I'd rather just source for a couple days, get a whole bunch of stuff, and then just ship it in.
Gotcha.
Yeah. So I don't have stuff going out every day. I do now, but that's just because of all the FBM orders, eBay orders, and that kind of stuff. But beforehand, I could have 2 or 3 days and not have any individual orders just because I was just doing so much more FBA than anything else.
I think last time I was at your place, and I imagine you're in the basement right now.
I am.
Yeah, at your little shipping station. We were on your couch drinking craft beer, and you were talking about having like a storage unit or something, a shed. You had something where it was away from your house. What was that?
Yeah. So, I used to have a warehouse because I was doing used furniture way back. But for the longest time, I've had 2 10 by 20 storage units.
Okay.
That was a lot of, I was getting stuff at like estate sales that I was selling on eBay and stuff like that. Honestly, that was super disorganized. I've been slowly organizing it now just because I can kind of focus on it a little bit more. But I've actually installed like 8 shelves in my garage. So all that stuff is now transitioning. So I should be able to have everything at home and not travel all around as far as that goes. But I've also been implementing things that so I have somebody that creates listings for me on eBay now.
Okay. That's what I was getting at, because I remember having that conversation with you. I think I was trying to convince you to hire a lister.
Yeah. Yeah. I still take the pictures because I have them physically here in person. So obviously you have to.
Oh, so you have like a virtual assistant? How's this work? Is it a virtual assistant or?
No, I just have a friend that I pay a certain amount per item that they list for me. That just works best for how I have things set up. So I take pictures because obviously you have to have the physical item in hand in order to take pictures for it. So I just take pictures. I just literally just put it on my Google Drive, give this person access to it, and then they literally just look it up to see what it sells. You know, they check the sold comps on eBay. They create the listing based on the photos that I have, and then when it sells, I'll package it up. But
are you paying them way more than you would pay a virtual assistant to do that?
Probably.
Probably. Hopefully is the answer. Because if you're paying them $1.50 for a whole hour, that'd be like I don't know, penny a listing. Keep the questions coming, guys. We got this guy for a little bit longer.
Yeah.
Let's. I wish I had a craft beer right now. I'm not drinking for 6 months.
Good for you. The funny thing, actually, the beer we had when you were here, I actually think I had one of those last night because I was like, you know what, I haven't had this in a while, and actually picked it up. Boom Sauce. I don't know if you remember.
Is it the pink one?
No, I didn't have that one. It was the like black or brown can.
That was really good beer.
Yes.
I think we were shooting. Were we shooting with my camera or my phone at the time?
Oh yeah, you had on like a little tripod.
That was awesome. I have like a $1,200 camera now. I've used it a decent amount, but right now I'm using Raken's webcam.
Okay.
But in the future, there's actually this plugin. If you're big enough, I don't know how big you are into shooting live YouTube videos or YouTube videos where you're doing like screen instruction, but you can plug. It looks like a flash drive. You can plug it in, and then you can plug your camera into it, and you can get super high quality video. You can make yourself big on the screen, and like this is pretty high quality right here. But it's gonna be super nice because I was either gonna buy a webcam for $80, or I could get the attachment to make my camera work on my laptop for like I think it was like $150, so about twice the price, but really good quality. So
yeah.
Something to keep in mind.
Yeah, no, I definitely will. My goal eventually will be to kind of create an intro to FBA course, nothing too extensive, but just like an intro to
Oh, you can make one now, man. You have so much knowledge on it.
Well, I appreciate that. Yeah, I mean, I definitely want to. Honestly, there was a lot of stuff that I really planned on doing in the next month and a half with everything going on. It literally just made me switch gears so much.
Yeah.
Because like I said,
this whole thing has probably made you think like, shit, I should have had some type of product because now Amazon sales are stopping. Like you have to diversify your income.
With adapting, so I've done in the last 7 days, I've done more in the last 7 days than I did the entire beginning of the month, just from like adapting and switching things. So, because it's terrible that there's more people buying things right now, but there's more people buying things online right now. So just switching things and not price gouging, literally just going market value on stuff, finding those items, sending them in, and then even FBM. I mean, I've had 142 FBM items in the last 4 days. So it's adapting. It's not easy. I literally spent probably 6 hours just scanning everything I had that I planned on sending in an FBA just to figure out, okay, is it worth it sending in an FBM? That's 6 hours. I'd much rather be doing something else, but you know, you still got to pay the bills. And I can't even imagine the countless hours more it took to package things up individually than it did if I could just throw it all in a box, send it to FBA and be like, all right, thanks for shipping it for me when it sells, Amazon, appreciate it.
Yeah.
So
that's why I still can't believe, because even like guys like Jameson, like he doesn't even have a lister. Like just so many retail arbitrage guys and the book people too. But there's more book people that do the bulk thing to where they hire employees, but there's so many retail arbitrage guys who put up pretty big numbers, but they still do everything themselves. And for me, it just doesn't make sense.
So I don't have a lister for Amazon. My lister is only for my eBay stuff. I still do everything myself for Amazon.
But even like packing and shipping like merchant orders, like I would hire someone immediately. I'd get a kid $10 an hour, or just give them a beer.
I have somebody occasionally, I mean, not right now, obviously, because nobody's going out, but I have somebody that I occasionally will pay to come polybag items for me. Want to do like sports clothing or even like beauty products, anything that needs to be polybagged. I'll usually kind of get like 3 or 4 bins worth of stuff. Let this person know, be like, hey, do you have 3 or 4 hours? Yep, I can come over on this day. Cool, sounds good. They'll polybag it, and I mean that's well worth it for me to have them do that, because obviously my time would be better spent either going to find items or figuring out like what to get next.
Yeah, gotcha. Facebook user says, "Yo, what's up? What's up, Facebook user? We can't see your name." What do you read often?
No, not really, to be honest.
You're mainly podcast. Is that how you learn, or
YouTube?
Listening?
Yeah, YouTube podcasts. Yeah, that's pretty much my
what business podcast or business what business information have you been obsessed with recently?
Honestly, I'm very guilty of with even YouTube or podcasts, the suggested things, and it takes me to the next
product of the algorithm.
Yes. Oh, I'm 1,000,000% a product of the algorithm. I'll go in and see the list of 10 things. I'd be like, okay, that seems like it's geared more towards what I want to learn today. Do that one, and then based on that, we suggest this. Okay, that sounds good. This is going based on what So I'm very much a product of the algorithm.
Yeah,
I don't have.
I definitely the algorithm. I would like to think the algorithm's a product of me. I know it's probably not true, but I listen to Mr. Jones every day, probably for probably a year consistently, and so it knows. I swear it knows when I want to listen to the song. It probably because I fucking listen to it every day at 9 a.m. It knows exactly when I want to listen to it.
Yeah,
it'll show it to me. But then it also it's pretty cool because it'll go Mr. Jones, some salsa mix to some rap song, and it's it understands me. It's it calls it my mixtape. Have you seen that? Does it have one for you too, where it says your mix or my mix or something?
I think there's something similar on. I'll use Spotify, and it gets a similar thing, suggested music based on what you listen to. Yeah.
Yeah, it's nice, but at the same time, I like to switch it up because I don't want to just only ever listen to the suggested stuff, because then I feel like I am becoming a robot.
Right.
I feel like I'm being programmed. So I like to break that pattern when I can.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's strange. I used to listen to a ton of Joe Rogan. You listen to Joe Rogan?
I have in the past, yeah.
Yeah, I used to listen to hours of them. And then I started hanging out with this dude who also listened to hours of Joe Rogan. And we would literally we'd have conversations, but then we couldn't even have any more conversations because we already knew what we were about to say. It's just I'm just talking about the pod. We can't even talk about the podcast because the way Joe Rogan has his podcast is he gives a bunch of opinions about stuff, and he brings on different guests. So most of the time, when you talk about the Joe Rogan podcast, you're not talking about what happened on the podcast. You're talking about the ideas on the podcast. So when you're talking to someone else about the ideas, you guys are both exploring the idea. So unless you bring a new angle to it, you can't repeat what the fuck Joe Rogan said. You can pretend with your friends to be all smart, repeating what Joe Rogan or his super smart guest said, but you can't do that to your friends who also only listen to Joe Rogan. You gotta start getting creative and come up with your own fucking ideas.
Yeah. That's freaking funny. Yeah, I can see how that would be difficult. Being oh yeah, what do you guys think about this? Be oh, so you watched Joe Rogan today earlier too?
Yeah. That was Rhonda Patrick's paragraph that she said at 3 minutes and 14 seconds into the podcast. You fucking asshole! You just copied what she said.
Exactly. That's funny.
There's definitely an art when it comes to I'm obviously trying to get better at this when it comes to doing an interview and asking the right questions and providing value, because Rakin is very good at thinking what does the guest want, what does the audience want, and he'll ask the questions he already knows the answer to, but he'll ask them enthusiastically and he'll get the answer out of his guest.
Yeah.
But then there's the approach I've been taking is it's almost more of a Joe Rogan approach, is he'll just have conversations. He'll do the same thing, but he'll just go with his own interests, let his own interests carry the conversation. So
sure,
that in and of itself can provide massive value to the audience if your own interest is interesting.
Yeah, no, I agree. I definitely agree with that.
Jason is getting a one-on-one with you, BuyLow. You'll have to bill him after this. He says, what's the name of the Facebook list that Matt has?
I'm assuming he's talking about the Discord group. So
yeah,
probably. Discord group is BuyLowBoloz. If he's looking for more information, you can just send me a message on Instagram, And my Instagram is the same as my name on here, BuyLowSellHeinz.
It's in the description below, I believe. I linked your both your YouTube. I linked our YouTube podcast from a year ago. Was that a year ago?
It might have been, yeah.
It feels like longer to me because so much has changed in my life. Like I'm living in Miami now. At the time,
right,
I remember exactly where I was. I was outside this Starbucks on Highway 65 in Nashville, and I forgot that you were a time zone ahead of me or something. And I'd like pull over and like do the interview in my car.
Yes, you did the interview in your car. Like you showed me the back seat with the seat and everything, and
it was like a episode of Cribs.
Yeah, and I think even when you came and stayed with me at my place, I still think you hadn't even gotten your own apartment in Tennessee yet. I think you were still
I think so
driving around in your car for the most part and just kind of
I was.
So
those were the days.
Yeah,
I'm living in this penthouse with Mr. .com. Check this out.
I've seen the videos of it. It's a gorgeous view, especially in the morning. You guys up there?
Yeah, it's insane. We're gonna start having salsa parties up here.
Just get the person with the air horn outside just to hit it when you announce at the start of the party.
Dude, I went to Puerto Rico and they were playing these. It's like everyone in Puerto Rico when they salsa dance, like in America, it's very ballroomy. Like you're very up, you're doing like your spins, you're looking all pretty. In Puerto Rico, like there was like 10 motherfuckers with a cowbell. Like they just like out of nowhere. I'm like, where did he get the cowbell from? He pulled it out of his pocket and be like, boom, 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 bang it. I'm like, I want one of those. So like, I'm actually gonna get one. And when
they know there's a party every corner.
Yeah, I'm just gonna be doing the cowbell thing. Rake is laughing at me right now. And then they have like all the different types of instruments. I'm sure you could flip those on Amazon for a decent profit. Probably. I've actually been meaning to look up cowbells on Amazon, but it seems like it'd probably be too heavy, so they probably have to charge a lot for it. So the person selling it probably doesn't make a whole lot of profit. Heavier items are they? You stay away from heavier items?
No. So depending. I mean, sometimes yes, just because of the weight, but other times I actually enjoy selling heavier and bigger items because there's less people that are selling them. So some people, they shop on Amazon and that's the only place they shop. So they don't sometimes care how much, it costs. But I mean, like I had some around Christmas time, I sold these like 10-piece, like cast iron pot and pan sets that I think weighed like 45 pounds for the set of 10. But there was me and one other person selling it. And I mean, I sold like 4 or 5 of these and I paid like $179 and sold them for like $4.99. So, it was a quick $200, a pop. I mean, it cost you $80 a piece to ship it into Amazon.
Yeah.
But I mean, after these, so I think if you're new, yes, stay away from it because it's hard to factor that in. But once you get more into it, honestly, as long as you factor in the shipping costs, I mean, Amazon's pretty good as far as telling you what the estimated shipping is. I don't shy away from it. I love heavy items. I love bigger items because most people are scared of them.
Jason is saying I was textbooks for 6 years, about 60% out of it. I'm not sure what he means by 60% out of it. Do you know what he means by that?
40% of what he does is still textbooks, but he's still going. He's 60% of his other sales now are different stuff, and
textbooks are amazing. If you can find sources with textbooks, like if your local sources have textbooks, you can consistently get them. They are out of all the products on Amazon, they're probably like top 5%. Wouldn't you agree?
Yeah, definitely. So I actually have one of my local honey holes. This guy gets like pallets and pallets of stuff in, and he actually had pallets of books, and he was like, I don't even know what to do with these. And I'm like, well, I mean, I'll go through them for you if you want. And I probably 40 textbooks out of one pallet, and I was like, yeah, we should probably consign these. So I mean, he gets in probably and it's all mixed. It's all mixed liquidation pallets and stuff like that. So I mean, he probably gets a pallet worth of books every single month. So I mean, I'm going through a pallet of books once a month, and finding 40 to 50 textbooks every single month from these pallets. Yeah, and he was one of my consignment people beforehand, anyways, because he's getting full truckloads worth of stuff. But yeah, textbooks are you don't find that ROI on anything else. Like you really don't.
Yeah. It'll be interesting with textbook. I don't think they're going to go anywhere, but I do think there's going to be a decline in the number of people that go to college. I kind of hope there is, because it's outrageous. The cost of textbooks are outrageous. The cost of college is outrageous. And even though I make a lot of money selling them, I just know it's kind of like the price gouging argument.
Yeah.
Did I say that right? Gouging?
Yep.
Price gouging.
Yep.
It's kind of like that argument of like, it's just not ethical to sell stuff at a super high price.
Yeah, I agree. And especially where
it's ethical for Amazon to suspend sellers for doing it either, though. They should be smarter about that. I mean, they should even, I don't know, this is kind of getting weird, but they should have, I don't know, like this is where it gets like Amazon becomes a government. But what if they had the ability to like sell it at market value? Like they could bring your price down for you. Like, you're trying to sell it at $200. No, you asshole, you're going to sell it for $25.
Yeah, it's at what point is something price gouging? At what point is it, just a basic supply and demand? They don't have, at least from my knowledge, like set things. It's not cut and dry. It's like Amazon's own government. You do what we say or you don't play. So it's tough, whether it's textbooks, whether it's beauty products, whether it's groceries.
Did eBay try to suspend people too?
eBay suspended. Amazon actually, I believe, is actually taking legal action on some people. But eBay suspended people. Amazon literally just deleted some people's accounts. Like, it wasn't even like they suspended some people. They literally were just like, nope, you can't sell on Amazon anymore. They suspended others, but some people they literally just kicked off. eBay suspended some, but not really that much. A lot of it, honestly, they just deleted the products people were trying to sell. So a lot of people got stuck with it.
Do you know like the stories of the people that Amazon's trying to sue? Did they make like crazy profit off of like? Yeah. How stupid was it? Like $500 for Germex?
I mean, maybe not that silly, but I know some people were getting like the mask, like the N95 mask. They were getting like, or even just like the basic mask. They were getting like 10 packs in the store for like $20, and they were selling it for like 120. But they had 60 boxes of that listed. So they're making $80 off of 60 different times. They're making a quick $4,800 overnight. And that was just asinine. It's one thing for like supply and demand for it to go from like say $20 to like maybe 40, but over $100, it was crazy. I mean, there was people with Germex, all that kind of stuff. So it was crazy. I don't know if you saw that there was one guy who had like 17,000 bottles of sanitizer and didn't have anything to do with like.
Yeah, I actually did see that.
Yeah. I didn't see anybody that went to that extent. But yeah, there's a bunch of other groups that I'm actually involved in, just either masterminds or that kind of stuff. And people are being like, oh, I can't believe I got suspended. And people are like, why? I'm like, well, I had this at this price. And everybody's like, well, I mean, it's pretty obvious as to why you got suspended. Because it's in Amazon's bylaws. It's not like it was like the surprise thing for anybody that had, read anything. It just says like, you can't price gouge, especially, for something that's an epidemic. You can't price, especially price gouging in
epidemic and a pandemic. Is there a difference?
If there is, I'm not quite sure the terminology difference.
You know the difference between an epidemic and a pandemic? No. Anybody in the comment section?
Anybody?
I've heard both.
Katie's still here. Katie, do you know what the difference is?
Oh, she definitely knows. She wrote a book. She's smart. I have her book on my shelf. Haven't finished it yet. She's saying, what is BuyLowBoloz? Do you have an RA OA course?
So BuyLowBoloz, I think we quickly touched on it earlier. It's a deal group that I run through Discord. We mostly post OA deals. We do RA deals and brick seat deals, usually 2 to 4 a day. It's $30 a month. And it's a great community too, honestly, especially now recently. We probably talk more in the group recently as far as like what people are doing, how people are adjusting to different things. A lot of people haven't done FBM ever before. So we've talked to people as far as like how to do FBM, what to look for beforehand, because unfortunately, a lot of people that haven't done FBM lose money because they don't understand that shipping is different. And then, do I have an RA course? I don't yet. I plan on it, but if anybody has questions, I would love shoot me a DM anytime, any day, and I love answering people's questions.
Do you answer people's questions with voice messages?
Not as often as you do.
You have a nice voice.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that.
Yeah, you could be like you should do some sound bites for me.
Yeah,
Romer the Romer. You should look about my intro. Would you do my restrictedinventory.com intro?
Yeah, that's fine. Hey, like I said, man, there's money for everybody. So
restrictedinventory.com. I want Rakin to come in with the .com at the end. I want someone with the super deep voice to go restricted inventory and then .com.
Yeah, you're just restricted inventory, and then you can come in with the .com.
Someone said pandemics worldwide, epidemic is local.
Okay, that makes sense.
I'm going to segue into my 7-day challenge. Have you heard about my 7-day challenge?
As far as the turning 100 to 1,000.
Well, it's not really that. It's make your first 1,000 on Amazon. But basically, it's a course, super dumbed down course where I get people to source their first 200 books. I'm kind of like an army instructor. I'm like an army general. Like in the course, I'm like, you got to do this, and you're not going to move on to the next section until you hit 200 books. And like I give away everything from like backroom access. Like I way over deliver with it, but I do charge $7 for it. And the reason why I'm charging $7 is to like make people actually take action, because when people pay for something, they want to follow through with it. So I could have done it for free, but because I'm charging for it, like people are actually going to want to go through it. And here's a little intro. Here's a little promo, and it's got that rapper who all you guys who follow me, you've heard his music before, but check out how badass this little intro is right here.
Look, grind hard, well done, sir, and welcome to the freaking well show.
Didn't mean to do that twice. But yeah, so that's the video. My video guy's amazing, but I'm super excited for this course. Like really, really pumped up. Like it even shows you how to list the items too. So like full circle, how to sell on Amazon. And you'd probably agree that books are like the easiest way to get started.
It definitely is. There's, for what you can pay for it with a return. I definitely, a lot of people,
as capital goes, and even like, because I don't know if I just did this shit wrong, but as far as RA, like going in the store, pulling your phone out and oh shit, who's that in the background?
That's my cousin Bobby.
I thought that was your lister. eBay lister sneaking out. What was I just saying? As far as, what was I talking about? Selling
books when you're first starting.
Yeah. So finding the books, it's just like, as far as I was talking about going in the store and just like being so confused. Like I would go, because you go in the store and if someone teaches you how to scan the books and like actually how to physically scan them, pull them off the shelf, that's one thing. But to go into an RA store, like I would love to like look at your course, like your RA, like how are you going to teach someone to go in the store and actually find, because I wanted to kill myself when I was in like a Walmart. I was like, what am I doing with my life? Like I've scanned like 100 items. It's taken me 2 hours to scan these, and I have like one item that's a maybe. I have one item that might be profitable, and then there's people like Jameson that don't even scan shit, and they're making $800,000 a year.
So I'm sure when Jameson first started, I'm sure he definitely did a lot more research than he probably lets on. But honestly, I have research days. I have like a day where I literally am going into a store. Like we talked about Marshall's earlier, where if I find one thing, I can then find it in all the other stores. I actually have a post way back where I literally went through an entire beauty section. I literally scanned every single item that's in the beauty section. And I think it was probably 500 different items, and I found 12 items that were profitable. That's it. But now I have those 12 items in my brain. So now when I go to all these other Marshalls, I just pick them up. So it's the same thing. Even when I'm doing OA, it's do the research, but once you find the item, you're great. So like when you talk
Retail Arbitrage scalable in that it's super scalable in the sense of like developing an eye, and even like one day, on your Marshalls days, you find 5 items at one store. It's not great, but then when you go to the next 7 stores, you're going to be able to like just go straight in and grab them. Yeah,
I can share one of it now. We've talked about it before, but when I went into Marshalls, I scanned all the entire toy section is actually how I found Tickle Me Elmo. And I only found 2 of it in one store. And I ended up finding, I think, 3 more in a different store that day, 3 more in a different store that day, 4 more in a different store. And I've now sold, I mean, I can't find them in stores anymore because they just stopped getting them to Marshall, TJ Maxx. But I've sold over 1,000 Tickle Me Elmos, all because I took the time and scanned it, found it in that one store that day. Or if I hadn't, I might not have.
Was it you that was pretty open about that one, or was it Richie?
So Richie's my boy. Richie lives local. I've met Richie in person. Richie is the self-proclaimed Elmo king. I used to joke saying I would race him to 1,000 Elmos to sell, but I quickly beat him to that. So I will post things months after it. Hence why I'm okay sharing like the mini brands now that we shared earlier, because it's pretty much impossible. It's still actually a good seller. So free bolo for everybody. Mini brands, if you can find it, it's still a good seller. I'll share stuff after I've kind of worked through it, after the hype, or when you can't.
After the price tanks.
yeah. After the price tanks. I mean. And everything's different, the way that Richie posts things, that's fine because he's already got it and he's shipping it in this, into Amazon. So by the time other people go get it, he's already selling his, so it doesn't price tank. But I mean, even other sellers, people will post things that they're finding in store that day. And I'm like, okay, well, I'm not going to buy that now because I know there's going to be 20 other resellers that are going to go pick that up as well too. But yeah, no, Richie is the self-proclaimed Elmo king. We can't find it anymore, so it's tough. But that's what it is. You have to do research first, find the item, but then you can get it in every single store that you're going into. And you might spend 8 hours, and I've spent like 8 hours in one Marshall's before. Only walked out finding 4 items during those 8 hours, but in long term, it was well worth it because I sold 200 of this over time, 400 of this over time, 500 of this over time, because I now walk into a store and I'm like, yep, this, and I've got a full cart without even doing any research because I did it before.
Nice.
Yeah.
It's got to be a good feeling.
It is.
That full cart.
Yeah, and I think the research days aren't bad because I know going in, it's a research day. It's not a sourcing day. It's a just find new products kind of day. And I mean, a lot of that stuff I'll usually write down, and then once I've found it in 3-4 stores, I don't have to write it down anymore. I just remember, just the visualization of the product. I know, okay, I'm in the beauty section, I'm looking for this. I'm in the toy section, I'm looking for this and this. I'm in the kitchen section, I'm looking for this and this. So I think the only thing you kind of have to do research as you go is clothing, because yes, they do get some stuff in like a lot of the similar stores, but otherwise they sell so many different things in different stores. Like you almost have to do clothing individually.
It seems like since everything is inventory in the store, it seems like you could just get like a store list from someone. Like, hey, what's all the stuff you have in the store? And boom, you can just take that list and run your software.
I would love to. I've talked to you. I have a couple store managers that know me by name. And I mean, when I used to buy Elmos, I'd walk in and people would be like, "It's the Elmo guy." It's a weird thing to be 6'5", a bearded guy, and walk in and somebody's.
I did more Elmos. Yeah, I destroyed all the other ones.
Yeah, so I've had conversations with like store managers as far as like, hey, is there an easier way? How do I know when you guys are doing markdowns? How do I know when you guys are getting new stuff in? And I mean, they would literally just get product in when they get it in. There wasn't they don't know what they're getting beforehand. They literally get it on the truck, and if it's a toy, they put it in the toy section. If it's a kitchen item, they put it in the kitchen item section. They don't get lists for like those particular stores. They don't get lists of what they're getting in. They just get a shipment. So otherwise, I'd love to if they get
like, wait, what are the category stores that don't have the list?
So like Marshall's, TJ Maxx, Home Goods, and
all the stores that have like the discounted name brands, but like a Walmart should have, theoretically, right? They should have a store list.
Yeah, I'm sure Walmart has a list of like stuff they're getting in. I don't think corporate would probably give you or let you have access to that list as far as like new products they're getting in. But I mean, so I'm getting more into software, tactical arbitrage. I don't know if you might have heard of that before.
Yeah.
I mean, you can use tactical arbitrage on like Walmart's website, and for the most part, they're going to have similar stuff in store versus online. So I mean, I've discovered regular items that I buy in Walmart stores by using tactical arbitrage, finding it online. Because sometimes they'll run out of stock online before they run out in stores. So I'll buy what I can in store. Once it runs out, I then know, okay, if I'm in a store, let's look for this while I'm in a store and grab it that way. So it's in essence using a software to run their inventory.
Yeah. That seems like the way to go.
Oh, it definitely is.
All right, brother. It's getting kind of late. I appreciate you coming on.
Yeah, absolutely. Appreciate you having me.
They know where to find you at. You got your handle right there. It's pretty cool how it lets you put your name in, isn't it?
Yeah, it's really cool. So you can put whatever you want. This way, like it's easier to put, what you're known as on there. Yeah.
All right, Matt. Any last words?
I appreciate you having me on today. I gotta come down there and visit you and Reagan down in Miami once.
We should let's do like a little mastermind. Let's invite as many people as possible, and I don't know how we're gonna frame it. You're an influencer now, so we could do like a social media meetup. We could just do like a wholesale retail arbitrage reselling, like all Amazon meetup. We could invite some interesting people and just network.
Yeah, I'd love to do that, especially now. I mean, I think a lot more people are trying to do that. I think now is a great time for people to, especially even new people, to go on and ask people questions, because a lot more people are online just with everything going on. They're spending more time online. So I'd definitely be interested in helping out with that kind of stuff. So
100%. Well, all right, brother. I will catch you, I guess, on probably an Instagram Lives probably the next time I want to talk to you.
Yeah, sounds good to me, man. I appreciate it.
All right, brother. Peace out.
All right, take it easy.